Welcome and let's get started with our Sunday morning vinyasa. We're going to start in a comfortable seat. I'm actually going to start a little different today. Normally I like to sit this way, but today it's not feeling right for me. So I'm going to sit on a block in a hero's pose. So I'm going to place the block like this. You're welcome to sit in your regular cross-legged or to change to something more like this. But it just feels a little nicer for me to sit this way. And again, going back to how we always discuss finding things that fit for you. Even if we normally sit cross-legged and that day you're not feeling like it, find a way that's comfortable. And so then we're gonna find your comfortable seat, soften the shoulders, let your hands rest wherever they feel comfortable. Maybe close the eyes or gaze downward. And allow yourself a few moments to arrive. Maybe a little bit of a tuck under or a tilt back of the pelvis so that you can find your center rooted and grounded. Perhaps a little arching back, like a little cow pose, arching back through the spine, and a little rounding in like cat. Back and forth a couple times until you can find a little bit more of that center where you're nice and upright. Maybe shifting your weight slightly left to right. Noticing how that shift creates a little pressure on one side and then the other, and then finding yourself back to that center line. And then maybe allowing yourself a moment to hollow out through the navel, expand and open through the rib cage, and then just let the shoulders widen and relax. Notice the parts of your body making contact with the earth. Notice the parts of your body that are lengthening or separating or moving away from the earth, like the head. Feel yourself connected and yet elongated, extending, evolving, and elevating away, both directions equally strong. We'll take the right hand to the belly, the left hand to the heart. Let's feel our breath for a moment here. Expanding through the rib cage and chest and belly, softening and releasing with the exhale. Notice if your breath is fast or erratic, meaning the inhales and the exhales are not equal in pace and measure, but instead a little bit different. Notice if your breath is deep and shallow or shallow. Just observe. We're not trying to change the breath. We're simply observing what the breath feels like for ourselves this morning before we begin our practice. And then with the next inhale, we'll draw the palms together at the center of the heart, thumbs against the sternum. We'll prepare for Om. Inhale to begin. Om. Exhaling, releasing the hands down, blinking the eyes open. Release the fingertips down to the sides. Just let the fingertips touch. And again, you can stay in your cross-legged. You don't have to change to my position. We're going to lean to one side. Doesn't matter which one. Pick a side. And then just open the opposite shoulder. So what we're doing here is just creating a little bit of a rotation. We're just going to warm up the body nice and slow. With the next inhale, let's take the top arm, and let's reach it forward, up, back, and down, creating a little bit of a circle. So we just forward, up. When it goes back, try to open the rib cage. And then when it comes down, close it a little bit, not a whole lot. So just focus on the open and then more on the evening out of the rib cage as you come forward. Let's do one more big circle. Good. And then the last one, just keep the arm in the up position. Opening the chest, the shoulder, chin towards the armpit, maybe softening into your supporting elbow a little bit. Might come to the floor, might not. Reach with the fingertips. And then exhale, take that top arm all the way down to meet your right hand or the side of your bottom hand, and then create a little twist. Try to keep the opposite hip grounded, so don't let that hip lift up, or the opposite knee. And then inhale, come back up to where we started. And then exhale back to the very beginning. Reaching with both fingertips down. Allow yourself a moment to soften the shoulders here. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Reaching over to the other side. Dropping down. Remember that top hip stays grounded. That arm goes forward, up, opening the rib cage back and down. Good. Couple of times. So we're leading with the hand and the arm, but we're including the shoulder, the rib cage, the side of the body, that top side waist, and maybe even that top hip. Sometimes if we're sitting cross-legged, you can definitely feel it in the top hip. And then with this last one, we'll stay in the up position. Rotate the spine, chin towards armpit. Maybe walk the other hand away a little bit, or you can bend the elbow. Then breathe. Actively reaching with the opposite hip. Actively reaching with the hand, little side bend here. Be light in your supporting arm. Don't be heavy there. Soften your supporting shoulder. And then inhale to come up. Exhale, we release. Good. All right, shake out the shoulders. Oh, I forgot the twist. Let's go back. Inhale, we go up. Okay, now exhale, take. I'm like, it feels funny. Right hand down, left hand down, find your twist. Good. It's funny, after a while, you start doing things, and when you don't do it equally on both sides, it really does feel, my body does notice that, like, oh, I'm missing something here. One more breath. Inhale. Now we come up to where we began, and then exhale back to where we started. Okay, very good. So now we're going to come onto our hands and knees, and we'll start our first sequence here in a kneeling sun salutation. So from your hands and knees, walk your knees all the way to the top of your mat. You can sit down in a hero's pose. And sorry about the lighting. It'll fix itself when the sun figures out where it's going to be. So we're actually going to start here, but we're going to inhale and come up onto the knees. So it's like an inhale and we come up, rise up, palms together, and we look up. Then we exhale and we come down into a version of child's pose. Hands next to the knees, head down, shoulders relaxed. So not an extended child, but just head down. Then inhale, we lift, open the chest, shoulders roll back, almost like a cow. And then exhale, walk the knees back, and now we're in our tabletop. Good. From here, we're going to take a moment to protract the shoulders, press the top of your feet. And then as you exhale, tuck your toes under, and then lift your knees so you can push your weight back. You can also keep the knees on the floor, but if you lift them, you add a little bit more activity. And then exhale, knees down, coming into cow. Inhaling. Exhaling into cat. And then the second time we do it, now we come into down dog. Toes tuck, knees lift, press back. And let's stay here. 1, 2, lengthening through the arms. 3, strong shoulders. 4, 5, looking forward. Let's take the knees forward. So see if you can slide so that your knees come forward. Lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, drop the hips, head down, hand stays next to your knees. Inhale, root through the shins to rise up. Palms together, we gaze at the thumb. And then exhale, we sit back down. Good. Let's try that again. Inhale up. Exhale down. Like a child's pose, but the hands are next to the knee. Inhale like a halfway. The butt can come up. The shoulders can roll back. Or you can keep the butt down. That's another possibility. Exhale, step the knees back to tabletop. Tuck the toes under. Inhale, lift the knees. Exhale, push back. So it's almost like a squat stretch. And then inhale back. Lift up to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale, lift the knees to downward facing dog as you exhale. Stay here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Long extended spine. 5. Inhale, look forward. Knees can come forward. Lift and lengthen. Exhale, take your child. Inhale, press through the shins, arms up. And then exhale back to seated, hands by your hip. Good. Last one. Inhale, come up. Exhale, we go to Balasana. Inhale, we lift halfway, butt can stay down. Exhale, we step the knees back to tabletop. Inhale, knees up. Exhale, take your squat stretch. Inhale, back to tabletop. Lift to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale, knees up. Exhale, press back. Downward facing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, look forward, step or jump your knees back to your hands. Lift up halfway. Exhale, Balasana, head relax. Inhale, root down through the tops of your feet, rise up. And exhale, release. Very good. All right, we're going to come down. So we're going to lean back. Go as far back as you can so that you can stretch into your ankles. Your knees can come up or they can stay down. If the knees stay down, you won't feel it in the feet as much. If they come up, you'll really feel it in your feet. So we're trying to reach back here. Relax the shoulders. Good. And then slowly let's release. Bring the knees down, lift the rib cage, shoulders back. Chin can drop back. And just see how that feels. And then exhale, chin down, come back to seated. Move your feet off to the side as you sit down. Take a seat for a moment. Take your knees in towards each other. Give yourself a nice squeeze, a nice hug. Forehead can come down to the knee. And then inhale, come up. Let's extend the legs forward, flex the feet. So again, similar one to what we did before with that Vinyasa. We're going to do it in this position now. And I think we've done this before. I'm pretty sure we've done it in this class. So same idea, feet extended, hands next to the hips. Inhale, shoulders back. Exhale, softly find Dandasana. Inhale, arms up. We look up. Exhale, we fold over the legs. Inhale, we lift halfway, open the shoulders. Exhale, take a fold. Inhaling as we roll ourselves back, and we're going to plant our elbows on the mat. Point your toes. Inhale, lift your rib cage. Drop your head back. Now exhale, chin moves to the chest. Release the rib cage and see if we can lay all the way down. Okay, this one is not gonna work. I'll do one here, then I'm gonna change that curtain. Once you're down, go ahead and lift the legs up like Viparita Karani. Flex your feet, lift your arms so that your hands are kind of facing, the palms of your hands are facing the sky. You'll kind of look a little bit like a dead bug here. We're going to decide, is this good enough? Thank you, Tish. It's going all the way to the end. So we're going to decide here if this is enough, if we want to stay here, or if you want to make it a little bit more active by moving the legs away and the arms away. And then let's hold. 1, press the middle back and the lower back down into the mat. 2, soften the shoulders. 3, however far away your hands are from your feet, the harder it will be. 4, 5. Then exhale, drop the arms, drop the legs, full body stretch. Inhale, roll up. Find your feet, lengthen the body. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, arms by your side. Okay, back to Dandasana. Let's do another round. I had a little bit of not enough room behind me, so I'm going to scoot forward a little bit. So you make sure that you have room behind you when you come back. So inhale, arms come up. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, we lift halfway. Exhale, try to bring both elbows back at the same time, which means you have to control with your core. Control with your core. Point your toes, lift your rib cage, drop your head back as you inhale. Exhale, chin to the toes again. Drop your rib cage, slide your elbows away so you can settle your shoulders and head down. Inhale, legs up. Flex the feet and hands. Exhale, take them to whatever the distance you want. So make sure you're not just doing the legs. If you're going to do the legs, do the arms as well. That's it. Hug the lower back down. Press it down into the mat. This is actively engaging the core, but it's a nice restorative way to do it in the sense that we're not putting weight on the body. Good. One more breath. Exhale completely. Soften the shoulders. Now, as you exhale again, drop the arms, drop the legs, full body stretch. And then inhale, roll up. Try the best you can. Once you find your feet, lengthen the body. Exhale, fold and release. Inhale, root through the legs, rise up, look up. Exhale, arms by your sides, Dandasana. Beautiful. Okay, last one. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, slide it back. Both elbows down at the same time, if that's possible. Point your toes. Lift the rib cage. Inhale, drop the head back. Exhale, chin back, sink the rib cage, slide the elbows down, let your chest, back of your chest, your shoulders, your head down. Inhale, legs up. Flex your feet and hands. Exhale, find pose. So pressing that lower back. You don't want to feel the rib cage up here. Rib cage sucked in. Good. 2. Shoulder blades away from each other. 3. If it's too difficult, bring it closer to the hands and the feet closer to each other. 4. This is an option. Good. Very nice. 5. And exhale all the way down. Lengthening through the body. Inhale, roll up. Find your feet, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms up, look up. And exhale, arms by your side. Take a moment to allow your shoulders to soften, chin down. Beautiful. We're going to separate the feet about width of a little less width than our mat. And then we're going to keep the legs nice and active so the quadriceps are contracted. And we're going to pitch ourselves forward. So one of the things that I like to always work on here is, are my legs engaged enough so that I can keep my back straight? If my legs are bent or soft and my back is rounded, pick one or the other to straighten. So if you want to keep your back round, straighten your legs. If you want to keep your knees bent, straighten your back. So pick one or the other to work with. Ideally, one day we do both. As you continue to pivot forward, you might be able to bring your hands closer to your shins or your calves, or maybe even your ankles. And then we're going to hold here with this extension in the spine, lift and lengthen, shoulders back and down. Nice deep breathing. Exhale completely. Keeping the legs super active, or the back super active, or both. Once you have the flexibility, work on one with the other. You can separate them and work on one more than the other. Like for example, for me here, my back doesn't have to be insanely active, but my legs are. I'm really activating my quadriceps, lifting up my kneecaps, really strong. Make sure your feet are not too wide apart, not as wide as your mat. You should be able to fit your hands on the outsides of your feet, so there's a little bit of space between your heels and your mat. And then you're going to take another little fold. Maybe this time the back rounds a little bit. That's okay, but still move the shoulders away from the ears. Keeping those legs super active. The legs have never stopped being active. Maybe the elbows can rest next to your legs or not. One more breath. Let yourself kind of just be weighed down by gravity. Gravity pulling you down. And then inhale, lift. Exhale there. And you can walk the hands back to the knees and help yourself come back up to center. Good. We're going to go ahead and bend the left knee, and we're going to pivot that left knee out to the side. So our torso is kind of facing the direction of our heel, our left heel. And then from here, we're going to fold forward in between the two legs. So not Janu Shirshasana, a little different variation of Janu Shirshasana. You can bring your elbows to the floor, or if you have your blocks, you can bring your elbows to the block. And just observe here how this changes the body. If your left knee is really high up in the sky, you can slide a blanket or a cushion underneath it, something like this, so that your knee feels supported. And you don't want to feel any pain in the lower part of the leg or in the knee. If there's any discomfort, it should be felt somewhere around the groin area of the left hip and also in the inner thigh of the right leg if you're actively pulling into that leg. And once you've been here for a while, maybe the block is too much and you can bring the forearms to the mat. Or you might need to stay there a little longer. I'm going to be here for a little bit of time. Now that the body is warm, we're going to try to use these passive stretches to continue our practice. If the block is available for you and you're kind of close to it, maybe you can bring your forehead and rest it on the block. Keeping your right leg active, right foot flexed, and your left hip relaxed and open. So there's no actively pulling down that left leg, just external rotation of that left hip happening. And then soften your shoulders. Let your head rest on your block. Remember, your block says level, so maybe you want to go a little higher with the block. That's fine. Maybe you want to stack a couple of blocks. That's fine too. Maybe you want to lower, make it a little harder. That's fine too. So choose your particular way of holding here. And then inhale, lift halfway. Roll the shoulders back. Exhale there. Walk the hands in. You can move the block off to the side. And then we're going to reach for the right toes. If the right toes are not available, find your shin or find your ankle. Find something on the right leg. Once you have the toe, the shin, the ankle, something, press into that left hand and twist. Similar to our warm-up before we started our practice, right? It was like a nice, easy warm-up where we turn the chest. Same idea. Same thing here with the shoulder, but we're going to go in the back motion. So before we went forward, up, back. Now we're going to go back to continue the opening, up, and then forward. So we're just using that same motion we did in the warm-up, continuing the rotation and the flexibility and the range of motion of the shoulder. Pay close attention to the back motion. So the back really starts to open up and you feel it back in that deltoid area. Good. Let's do one more. Now inhale, come up and hold it at the up position. And then exhale, see if you can bend a little bit. Good. Very nice. Reach and lengthen. And then exhale, drop the left hand on the inside of the left foot. Drop the right hand on the outside of the right foot, sorry. And then find a little bit of a twist. Now we're more in Janu Shirshasana than we were before. Take your fold. We're not pulling with the arms like we do traditionally, reaching for the foot. We're just letting our hands come down and our elbows come down. Let your torso realign itself. So push a little bit with that left elbow to get your right side rib cage on the outside of your right thigh. Yes, good job. One more breath. Exhale completely. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, walk the hands back to the center. See if you can reach, 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 extend, extend. Find your extension as deep as your body will allow. Exhale. And then inhale, walk everything in. Placing the left hand behind you. Make sure I don't have any junk behind me. Left hand's going to go behind you. We're going to lift the chest, point through the toe, and then elevate the hips with the right arm. Reach up and over. And exhale, come down. Good. Okay. Bring the right leg in, both legs into the chest. Give yourself a hug. Soften your shoulders. So we're going to repeat that whole sequence on the other side. Come back up. So now we can just extend the left leg out. Right leg into the chest. Prepare yourself by placing a blanket under that right knee if it's needed. Using the block in front of you if you think you're going to need it. Just start with all things in the right position so you don't have to go hunting for them. And then from your pelvis, you're going to fold right over your right heel. So not traditional Janu Shirshasana. You can let your elbows rest on the block. So the first part of this is just becoming acquainted with the body, what kind of range of motion we have, how it feels. I don't want you to go into the maximum where you have to really feel the stretch. I want you to just feel what it's like to come into the movement. And then you can decide, all right, maybe I can drop that block a little bit, or I can bring my elbows to the mat. And now I'm really activating, the inner thigh of that left leg, the groin into the right hip. There's all these things happening. And again, softening the shoulders, long extended spine, letting gravity move you down. And if it's at all available, maybe resting the forehead to the block. And once that forehead can rest somewhere, that is a game changer because now you are no longer holding the weight of our big heads. Our heads are heavy. They're a lot heavier than we think they are. And it takes a lot of effort to hold the head up. So in these poses, when we're able to release the forehead down to let it be supported by something, it really does change the nature of the asana. Because now it becomes a lot more about the actual parts of the body that we're aiming for and we're looking to work with versus just the lift and the extension of the head, which is half sometimes of the effort. So let's just allow yourself a few breaths here. Observe that left leg. It stays active, foot flexed. Try to keep both hips down. And let's inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, let's walk that left hand over to the left. Again, you can hold on to the ankle, the shin, the toe, whatever you can find. Open the right side. Just a moment to kind of open to that right side. Opening the shoulder, the rib cage. And then we're going to take that arm. So we start in the back position, continuing that rotation up, then slightly forward. And we do it again. So just like maybe 5 rounds of rotation. Good. Very nice. Keeping that chest open. And on that 5th one, stay in the up position. Good. Once you're in the up position, you can decide to bend into that left elbow and reach up and over. Very good. Nice and easy. And then exhale, we're going to drop the right hand down, left hand on the outside of that left foot, lengthen the spine, and now more traditional Janu Shirshasana, dropping your torso over your left leg. Press a little bit with your right forearm or hand to rotate you so that that chest is directly over your left foot, or left leg, I should say. And inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, walk the hands back to where we started, and now we're going to just walk away. Walk away. Walk, walk, walk away. Reach, 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 reach away. Reach, 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 reach. Go as slow as your body will allow. And inhale, walk everything back in. Beautiful, long, extended spine. Exhale, bend the left knee. Bring both knees back to center. And we'll give ourselves one more hug. So we'll practice Badha Konasana next in a couple of different ways. So the first one, we're going to elevate our hips. I'm going to turn sideways for these. We're going to elevate our hips on a block. And we're going to go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together so that the heels are as close as you can to that block. Really close to the block. So now here you might find that the knees are really high. No worries, that's okay. Let them be high, that's fine. But I want you to think about softening and relaxing here. Let's also not look to grab anything. Because as soon as we go to grab, then we use our arms to keep us upright. So let's try to keep ourselves upright by the strength of our core and the strength of our back. So instead of grabbing for the feet, let's bring the fingertips to either sides of the body. Maybe just down as you press into the fingertips, you find that elongation of the spine. And then we just let the knees be heavy. Sometimes this can feel a little bit of discomfort in the ankles. So if it does, slightly slide your feet away. So if there's any discomfort, just let your feet come a little bit more forward. It's going to change where we're stretching, but that's okay. Better that than to have any pain in the ankles. So we find ourselves here. If there's room for you to move and you feel okay, there's no, pain or deep, deep discomfort anywhere, then you can start to lean forward. Good. And then once you start to lean forward, you might find I can bring my hands to the forward position. Just let my fingertips come to that forward position. And same thing. Let your spine do the lifting and holding, not so much your arms. And then you can start to maybe flatten your palms and see how that feels. So where we don't want to feel this is on the outside of our hips. When I was doing this for many times before, I would always feel it out on the outside of the hips. And I knew that was not a good place to feel it, but I figured, maybe I'm just not open enough, and that's where I was feeling it until I elevated my hips. And then I thought, oh, I'm really feeling it where I'm supposed to feel it now, which is, hopefully you feel it as well, inner thighs and groin. That's where we want to feel this pose. Good job. One more breath. Let's take one more walk forward. If it's at all available, you might need to stay. One more walk forward. Maybe softening the elbows. Maybe elbows to the floor. Who knows? Anything is possible one day. Maybe you come all the way down. Extend and lift. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, walk the hands in. Come back to where we started. Okay, notice how much easier it might be for you to sit here like this. So now we're going to bring the knees in towards each other. Stay on your block. Give your ankles a little break, the sides of your feet a little break, and again, little hug and round. I love to do this pose in between. It just kind of resets the body and gets me ready for the next version. So now we're going to come down to the floor. So we're going to come off the block. You can kind of just lean to one side, lift the block, sit down. And we're going to put the block in front of us, and we're going to place our feet on the block. Same position, only the feet are on the block, knees are out. Only difference here is that the block or the feet are a lot farther away from our bodies. They're not as close as our bodies. In fact, kind of push it a little farther away, even if you think you're far enough away. Then fingertips to other sides. Same idea. Let your torso, your core find your lift, find your strength to hold you up. And then you can start to pivot forward. The pivot forward will inform you, do I no longer need my hands behind or next to me? Am I able to bring maybe the left hand to the left side of my block? Maybe my right hand to the right side of my block. And notice I put them inside the leg, because if I go on the outside, I don't have room. So inside is where I want to go so that I have space to bring my palms flat. If the palms are not flat, or if they're not quite as close to the block, that's okay too. Just keep moving in that forward direction using the core and the torso. So this is a little bit more like tortoise pose or turtle pose, where the knees just fall out to the sides and the hands rest on the inside. We're not trying to pull. One really important thing here is don't try to pull. Let gravity relax you into it. Let the knees fall on both sides and let gravity move your rib cage and chest down. The back will round. Let it. It's okay, because like a little turtle shell, it's rounding a little bit. That's fine. Just try not to over accentuate that rounding by tucking in. Kind of keep gazing towards your heels, so that way you can kind of mitigate the rounding just enough to make the pose a little bit more mindful. And then we hold and breathe. If it's at all possible for you to slide your elbows a little bit more underneath the shins, you can try. And then we don't want the hands out far to the sides, just right next to the block. Soften the shoulders. This one you may feel a little bit more on the outside of the hip. That's okay. The legs are far forward, so that's where you want to feel it. That's part of the asana. Relax your belly. No pulling with your arms, no pulling with your hands. Just let your hands rest wherever they make it to. And then inhale, lift halfway. You can start to slide the hands back, shoulders back. Exhale, come out back to where we started. And notice, is it a little easier to sit here? Okay, we're going to hug those knees back in. Keep the feet on the block. And then maybe hold underneath the legs. And give yourself another rounded back here, forehead to knee squeeze. So you can repeat the same thing we just did, or you can add a block to make the feet a little higher. So we can put one stack of blocks, one on top of the other. Put your feet back on top. And notice how that changes the posture. So the first one, you can hold on to your ankles just to get yourself situated. Because what's going to happen is you're going to feel like you're going to fall backwards. So we're going to let the knees open out. The soles of the feet are touching, so the heels and the toes are touching. The knees are just falling out to the side. And once you've been here for a moment, then try to release your hands to the sides. And again, use your fingertips to lift you and lengthen you. Stay there for a couple of breaths. These types of asanas are not ones that we can rush through. So you really have to give your body time to be in it as we increase flexibility, as we increase the level of flexibility that we're looking to create here. And then you're going to decide, do I really need my hands back there? If I were to lift my hands, would I fall down, right? And if the answer is no, take them on the insides of your legs and bring them right next to your block. And again, a little rounding, totally okay. Relax the shoulders and see if you can walk yourself a little closer towards your feet. And the gaze here, the drishti, can be towards the heels or towards where the bottom block meets the floor, meets your mat. And then we let the hips relax. So again, no pulling, no trying to, no. The energy here is happening from a softness. Can you softly be in this position with all its discomfort, with all its awkwardness? Can you just surrender to being here? Now, you should never feel any kind of deep discomfort on the outside of your calf, shin, knee, but definitely more into the hip area. So that is totally okay. Sometimes there's a little discomfort on the outside of the calf. If that happens, try to really activate your feet. So bring the soles of your feet together. Good. Couple more breaths. We're almost there. Maybe now we can hold on to the block and use a little leverage to pull. Just for the last few moments, making it a little bit more active. Keep holding out the navel. And then inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, release the arms. You can come back to where we started. Notice and observe how easy or not so easy it might be for you. Make sure you're not leaning back, right? So we're not relaxing like at the beach. Good. And then bring the knees in. My hip always snaps when I do that. It's so funny. And then grab the backs of your legs. Give yourself a hug, forehead to knee. Good job. And then slowly we release. Release one foot, release the other. Okay, we're going to do some supported back bending now that we've worked on the hips. So grab your blocks, have them off to the side as you lay down onto your back. So once we find ourselves all the way onto the back, let the feet plant on the floor. Decide here before we use the blocks to start to move into your pelvis. So little posterior and anterior tilts of the pelvis, creating some awareness here of the lower back, which we just worked a lot of. All of those things that we just did help to stretch that lower back. So we were in this position. Now we're trying to reverse and go back to this position. So we're doing a little bit of both. All right, then we're going to grab our block and we're going to place it at the flattest level or setting and just place it right underneath your sacrum. So lift your hips, place it underneath the sacrum. And just allow yourself a moment here to feel situated. Option one is to just keep the knees bent with Duke in the way. Duke, move. Move, buddy. Come. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. Or to extend your legs. Maybe they extend completely. Maybe they only extend a little bit of the leg. Oh, don't want your legs. And then you can extend your arms. So now we're really kind of moving in the opposite direction of what we were doing. We're creating a flexion in the spine. Keep the shoulders and the head down. If you want to activate your legs, you can. But don't worry about bringing them together to touch. Let them be slightly apart, but not wide apart. Your toes are pointing down, or your feet can be flexed, but the activity is happening right here in the hip flexors, fronts of your hips. And then you can continue that line by reaching your arms overhead. So let's stay here for a few breaths. I like to point, I don't know, that seems to be a little bit more, make the stretch a little bit more active for me, but see which one you like. One more breath. All right, as we exhale, take the arms down And we're going to do something a little different here. Flex the feet, bend the knees a little bit, one knee up, other knee up, and then inhale both legs up to the. So we're doing a Viparita Karani, but with the block underneath the pelvis. This is a very gentle inversion. It really has very little counters, so you can do this at any time of the day, at any time, no matter your level of flexibility or strength. This is a really good pose to begin with. And then we're going to bend the right knee, then bend the left, drop the feet down, and we're going to elevate our block. So maybe take it one level higher. Or you can keep it at the same level and just repeat the same sequence. So from here, now the hips are up, the feet are grounded, the knees are parallel to each other, and you're starting to feel like you're activating a little bit more through your hips and quads and your hamstrings. Then you could decide, I like it here, I'm going to stay, or I'm going to walk those feet away and really try to feel the opening in the front of the hip flexors. So again, flexing the feet, sliding the heels, or pointing the toes. Maybe the toes touch down. Maybe the legs straighten all the way. Maybe the legs have a little softness in them. Somewhere in between works fine. Then you can decide to bring the arms overhead, reach to the fingertips, relax the shoulders, and then now find whatever level of activity you want to engage in the body. So you can make this as soft, relaxed, and restorative, or as active and engaging and difficult as you wish. So you get to choose your level for today. One thing I want you to be concerned about, if you feel this in your tailbone or in your sacrum or lower back, that is not a place you want to feel this stretch. You want to feel it up in the front of your body. If there's discomfort back here, tuck under or bend your knees a little bit to release that discomfort, and then go back to the extension. Good. Very nice. Easy and steady breathing. Just as a reminder, always, that pain is not something we look for in our practice, but discomfort is something that helps us grow and evolve and become a little bit more aware of our limitations. So, discomfort, yes. Pain, absolutely not. One more breath. And then with the exhale, let's bring the arms down. Softly bend through the knees, one knee into the chest, other knee into the chest. It should feel pretty nice after that. Maybe a little side to side roll. And then extend your legs back to Viparita Karani. The block is even a little higher, so a little bit more of those inversion benefits happening for our bodies. Close your eyes, let your legs be soft. Steady your breath. Deep inhale. Slow exhale. Deep breath in. Slow breath. Last time. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. And then exhale, slowly start to bend the knees. You can do one at a time or both together. Let the feet dangle down. And then exhale, drop the feet down to the earth, back to where we started, working a little bit on the core muscles as you come down. And then lift the hips, remove the block, sink the hips back down. And you know what's next. Hug those knees into the chest. Give yourself a hug. Roll a little bit side to side, front and back. Half circles, full circles, whatever feels good in your body here. We're going to wrap up our practice today with a nice gentle twist. So let's take the left foot down to the floor, hug or cross the right foot over. So not a figure four position, but just cross the leg. Open the arms out like a T, palms down, and then drop both knees together to the left side so the right foot touches, and then the left foot can relax and you can look to the right. So it's a little different of a twist. Allow your right shoulder to soften. Let your knees be heavy. Keeping the rotation of the body without force or that much effort, just letting your body sink down towards the mat, your lower body as your upper body reaches towards the right. And slowly inhale. Let's take everything back to center. Reach the right leg up. Reach the left leg up. Bend the right knee. Cross the left foot up and over the right leg. And then bring both knees to the right. And then gaze over to the left. Easy and steady. One more breath. Exhale completely. Inhale to bring both knees back to the center. Lift the left leg, lift the right leg. Extend, maybe point and flex through the heels and ankles and feet. Circle around a couple times. And then bring the knees, hug the knees to the chest. One more little hug. Low back massage. And then we'll take Shavasana. So extend the legs out. Let the feet flop out to the side. Relax the arms out to your side so there's no tension in your hands or wrists or forearms. Softly open the shoulders. Let your chest just create a little bit of an elevation as you relax your rib cage and your lower back into the mat. Close your eyes. Try to settle into the sensations of the body as you just surrender to peace. The practice is done. We are now in a resting position. Observe your movement of breath without trying to change it in any way. Slowly, gently. Let's begin to bring awareness back to this body that we are in, to this room where our body is in, to the thoughts of the mind, the emotions that rise up from these thoughts. See if you can separate yourself slightly from all of it, as though you're watching a movie of someone else moving through their life. And then we can start to add a little bit of wiggles or movement to the toes and the feet, the hands and the fingers. Wrists and the ankles can start to move, turn, twist, point, flex. And we can take the arms up overhead, bring the legs together, full body stretch as we inhale. Hold the stretch as you exhale. Make it active once more as you inhale. And then exhale, hug the knees in. Hold the hug as you inhale. A little sway as you exhale. Dropping yourself onto one side. And stay there for a breath or two. When you're ready, the next inhale, press up to come to seated. And give yourself a moment to make yourself comfortable. We won't be here very long, just a few moments to wrap up our practice. You can come back to a cross-legged position. Once you're in cross-legged, bring your hands to prayer, soften your shoulders. As we move through our gentle movements of either Vinyasa or whether it's Ashtanga or any other form of Hatha yoga, we always practice with awareness, with mindfulness, with intention, but most importantly with love, specifically self-love. The point of this practice is to heal us physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So if at any point during your practice you don't find that that is happening, then it's time to adjust. It's time to change it. And that doesn't mean that everything will be easy all the time. It just means that we are aware of how things are feeling all the time. So with that intention in mind and with that understanding, we'll seal our practice today with a nice Om. Inhale to begin. Namaste.
Namaste.